This is the vintage Coaster V20 and this is £180. This is cheaper than a Squier Affinity Telecaster. I'm going to go through the spec. We'll start with the pickups. These are designed by Alan Entwistle and the neck pickup is the Entwistle X4 and the bridge pickup is an Entwistle X4B. They're both ceramic pickups. The neck pickup is 5.3 ohms and the bridge pickup is 7.3 ohms. They've got a nice amount of copper on there. I can see it. So it's not just... Sometimes with cheap guitars, you get a pickup with hardly any copper and a massive magnet because the copper's the expensive bit and they sound terrible. I found that on some Squiers before. Mainly Squier Bullets, if I'm being honest. The Affinities, to be honest, the Affinities aren't that great either. But these got a nice output. So we're going to have a listen. This is how the neck pickup sounds on clean. I like that a lot actually. It's worth noting that the tone pot, this is a proper tone pot, so I think it's logarithmic. If they use a linear one, it means, listen to this. You can roll the tone off with the knob. If you use a linear pot, all the action is between 0 and 1. It's a massive pain, if I'm being honest. So this, the proper pot, I love what these guys at Vintage do. Let's do the middle position, which is both pickups if you didn't know. And the bridge, I'm going to roll off it with the treble because the tone knob works. So we'll do something on the bridge. Put a bit of drive on the bridge. And we'll do some full-on gain. Oh, yeah. Now, I did speak to the guys at Vintage about these, and they did say they were good pickups, and yeah, I agree actually. I think they sound absolutely fantastic. On a guitar that's under 200 quid, normally the pickups are terrible. I think they sound, I mean, leave a comment, they might have sounded terrible through YouTube, but in the room, I thought that sounded great considering I didn't dial anything in, I just put it all on full, apart from when I said it wasn't on full. I think it sounded amazing. Some cool features. The tuners are actually quite good. Normally in cheap guitars, they're terrible. These are nice tuners. It's got a walnut plug. I think that just looks so much better having a walnut plug. I know some people don't care, just think it looks great having one. This to me looks like a proper rosewood fretboard. It's not Pal Ferro and it doesn't look like laurel. Also, it looks like a really nice bit of rosewood. I mean, it depends on what tree they've cut down, but if you get this guitar, this is a really nice piece of rosewood. The back of the neck, satin, so it feels amazing. I've done a gloss front, so it looks nice and shiny from the front, but the back's satin, so don't know if it's oiled or if it's just a matte or satin finish, but it's so much easier to play. The fretboard, I mean, it's not rolled, but it's not a sharp fretboard like you get on a Fender player. The frets, I mean, there's no fret sprout, but the fret job is a bit wonderful. 22 frets. I know most Squiers come with 21. I think 22 is better. Mainly because I like how it looks. I rarely use it up here, but you know, you can bend a tone and get to the double octave, so that's quite a cool feature if you do like the dusty end. I just think 22 frets is a bit cooler. 10-inch fretboard radius, 25.5-inch scale length, so it's not going to feel weird. 3-ply scratch plate just looks so much better. This tiny little pinstripe around the edge looks fantastic. I don't think Squiers, in fact I've changed the pick guard on that, I've only got one Squier at the moment. I'm sure they come with a single ply, which, you know, is fine. It's just a nice detail. The bridge. Now the bridge on this guitar, I know it's probably a cheap bridge. However, I've noticed that it's got string through body, which is kind of nice on any T-style guitar. But it's also got holes in the back, so you can put the strings through the back of the bridge. So you can string it either way. I've only seen that on one bridge ever, and that was a Wilkinson one. So designed by Trev Wilkinson. I don't think it was on a guitar in here, but that's kind of a cool feature that's not mentioned in the spec anywhere, but you know, a few of these things I've spotted. Now the body, the timber this is made out of, I believe it's pronounced Polonia, which, if I'm being completely honest, I find a bit light to me. It's so light. However, if you were doing a 3-hour gig or rehearsal, which I've done a lot of, you don't want a heavy guitar for that. It soon becomes quite boring. So you could play on this for hours and hours. And one of the things, I mean, the guys at Vintage are not going to like me saying this. Me and my friend Steve did a video the other day. So we build guitars out of parts or from scratch. And we were saying with some guitars, like I bought a Fender Strat neck. It was over there. I've just sent it back because I was playing, to be honest, a Harley Benton, a Fasley, and a couple of vintage guitars. And there's a vintage Strat I'm going to review. And the necks on all of them are better than the Mexican Fender Player Stratocaster. So if you're thinking of building a guitar from scratch, buy one of these, take the neck off it, because it's better than a Fender neck. I'm really impressed by this. I think this whole range, the Coaster range, is going to sell really well. I love vintage guitars. Their guitars are really nice. But these Coaster range, so the budget ones, I think, you know, with the world recession coming on, this is the perfect time for this. And it's like a Squier Telecaster, but just the pickups are definitely better, which will make you play more. It looks a bit cooler. They've got some good colours. Well, I think they do this and black. I don't know what other colours they do apart from that. Just the parts feel good. Nothing feels cheap. Satin back of the neck. It's really good. I'm also going to do a review on this vintage Coaster V60, so sort of the Stratocaster type one. Again, 22 frets, 3-ply scratch plate. I like the fact the scratch plate and all the pickguard material and knobs isn't just white. So watch the video on this. I've been playing this loads. Absolutely love this. Candy apple blue. Candy apple red is my favourite colour, like that Strat and that vintage bass. And again, the pickups in a guitar that's under 200 quid. Great job.